Rocky Barker is the author of Scorched Earth: How the Fires of Yellowstone Changed America. In 1988, he covered the Yellowstone fires as a reporter for Idaho Falls Post-Register.
I think that's true. I mean, I think, for one, you know, this was such a change. Here they are on the 27th of July. They've got this whole wonderful natural fire story that they're trying to tell, and nobody cared at the time. And in fact, you know, they were trying at the time from a communications standpoint, not a information standpoint. They had this dual message. And the message, one side of the message was, this is a natural part of the ecosystem. Fire is essentially good, and the other one is, and we're working to keep it under control and put it out. Those two things, those two messages at the same time, were incoherent. They were impossible for us to really tell very well, particularly in the national media. And while I saw, you know, I've seen since then Hodel on Good Morning America telling very well both sides of that message, you can understand how both the public and the press were very skeptical. How can you be doing both? How is both things good at the? And the whole point, you know, at the time was, well, we're putting out all the fires that people started, but we're allowing the fires that started by lightning to burn. Once again, the natural fire message was a very hard message to absorb, and it really took. I think it really took the. I don't blame the public information officers themselves. It took the managers themselves had a hard time figuring out until it became clear that they were overwhelmed. And said, oh, the heck, let's dump the natural fire message and just, as Bob Barbie would say, and we're just going to talk about the brave firefighters now. And it was good. I think they were stronger then. It always was a challenge because, again, I understood the natural fire policy very well. The policy itself made sense from a scientific standpoint. It had a sense of you know, the value judgment was that nature, when in doubt, let nature do it itself. But there were all these checks and balances that had been placed into it. But the bottom line was, when lightning started a fire and it wasn't going towards any buildings, the Park Service was going to allow it to burn. Inherently, my reporters went to the easier way of telling that. That was too complicated to say in one sentence. Let it burn is a great way to explain it. That's the phrase I used, that's the phrase every reporter used, and the Park Service hated it. They hate it today. Everybody in the fire world has always hated the term let it burn, because they believe that it says we're not doing anything, we're just standing by and letting nature take its course. And I understand their feeling about it, but it's still every other word they come up to replace let it burn with is just as misleading and hard for a regular person to understand. And so that has always been a cause of conflict between firefighters, the managers, and we in the press. I think what I basically would tell young reporters is, you need to get out. Get out and spend as much time with your sources as you can, not just when fires are burning, for instance, but get out all year long. I tell people on both sides of this that relationships matter. And relationships matter both in the short term and in the long term. You will be a better reporter if you get to know the people you're dealing with outside of a crisis situation and in a crisis. if you spend some time with them so that they know you and you know them, and you have some trust. Well, again, I think it's important to develop those relationships when you can. I think that's important. But what I try to remind people is, we are trying to answer our editors and our readers' question of why should we care. You need to be thinking about that when you're talking to me, that's what I'm asking. The first and most important question I have is, why should I care? So you have to help me to understand why you think I should care. That's first. And then the second thing I guess I say to people is, people don't care about process. Don't worry so much about process, like the natural fire policy. Think more about what people do care about. They care about critters, they care about places, and they care about people. And if you think about that, that will make your relationship work much better with us.
I address my biases with fairness and a balanced approach to seeking the truth. The balance I use is the knowledge that no matter how comprehensively I have researched a subject, I may not understand the real truth. Rocky Barker in a speech titled "The Profession: Reflections of an Environmental Reporter."
Reflect on Rocky's remarks. What does it say about the nature of the work of a reporter covering a fire story? How might you, as a fire manager, relate to a reporter with this viewpoint?